The purpose of this video is to provide general instruction in the setup and operation of Sturtell-Coney wireless mobile lifting columns. This wireless mobile lifting column operations video will serve as a supplement to full operations training as detailed in the original equipment installation, operation, and service manual. The original manual is also supported by the following documents that are provided by the Automotive Lift Institute: the Lifting It Right manual and video, the Automotive Lift Safety Tips placard attached to the lift, the operator's portion of the Automotive Lift Operation Inspection and Maintenance Manual. Technicians should not operate this lifting equipment until compliance with these standards has been met. Please note, this video is not a substitute for formal operator training as outlined in the Automotive Lift Operation Inspection and Maintenance Manual. As a starting point, always place and operate mobile lifting columns on a flat, firm surface in compliance with the requirements laid out in the original equipment manual. If the lifts are to be operated outside, it is necessary for the technician to be aware of wind loads against the vehicle when in a raised position. Maximum allowable wind loads are detailed in the original equipment manual. Now let's get started. Pallet jack operation. The first step to utilizing mobile columns is to get the column to the service area. The column includes in its design a pallet jack mechanism to facilitate this relocation. The pallet jack has a 3-position handle. 1. The raised handle position is for release of the pallet jack. 2. The middle handle position is the neutral position that allows relocation of the column. And 3. The lowest position of the pallet jack handle is to allow the column to be raised off the floor for relocation. Here we see the pallet jack handle placed into the lowest position and the pallet jack handle being pumped up, which in turn raises the column off the floor. Column relocation. Now that the column is raised off the floor, it is a simple matter to maneuver the column to the location of the vehicle. As a starting point, the operator must make certain that the lifting fork matches to the diameter of the tire and rim assembly to be lifted. The mobile column has the option of being fitted with either a fixed lifting fork or an adjustable lifting fork. The principle behind the opening in the lifting fork is that the tire and rim assembly cannot pass through the fork in the unlikely event of a tire rupture. Fixed lifting fork columns must be fitted with reduction sleeves to narrow the fork opening. Adjustable lifting fork columns allow the fork opening to be reduced by releasing the lifting fork lock by hand and then sliding the fork inwards. It is important to slide each side of the adjustable lifting fork in an equal distance. Once the column has the fork properly set up for the vehicle to be lifted, we are going to insert the lifting fork around the tire. Make sure to position the lifting fork perpendicular to and completely in contact with the tire. It is best that the steering axle tires be set in a straightforward position when the vehicle is brought into the service bay. Once the column lifting fork is firmly against the tire, release the pallet jack by raising the handle to the upper position. This will lower the column to the floor. Repeat these steps with all columns to be used in the lifting set. The startup process. Now that all the columns in the set are properly positioned, it is time to power up each column in the set. On each column is a main power switch. At this time, locate the main power switch and rotate it clockwise from off to on. Once the main power switch has been rotated to the on position, each of the lights on the front of the control panel will flash on as a lamp test. As part of the lamp test, a self-diagnostic is performed. Once the auto-diagnostic check has been completed, the column is ready to run. That is, to be initialized for operation. It is necessary to follow this identical procedure to power up each column in the set. Once a column is powered up and completed the self-diagnostic check, the OSD on-screen display will show an image of the ID key and prompt the operator to initialize the columns that are to be linked into a single set that will operate together. Column identification. Now that all columns are powered up and ready to be identified, simply go to each column and place the ID key in front of the antenna symbol. The column will acknowledge that it has been identified by emitting a single beep and prompt the operator to move to the next column to be identified or use the ID key to finish column grouping and the startup process. Each column in a set needs to be identified so that the columns can all be linked into a set. Once all the columns, up to 8 columns in total, have been identified, it is time to initiate grouping the identified columns. To group the columns, go to any single identified column which has the green light flashing. At that column, place the identifier wand next to the antenna symbol for a second time. At this time, the control system on that column will emit 2 beeps. In that way, the grouping procedure will begin. There will be a slight delay as the control system groups all identified columns into an operational set. Once the OSD is changed to show the word "Ready" on all columns in the set, the group is ready to operate. It is important at this time to confirm that all columns in the set have been properly grouped. To perform this check, locate the column numerical indicator in the bottom of the OSD and confirm that the total number of columns grouped is the same as the desired number of columns to be grouped. The OSD will show the number of the column in the set over the total number of columns in the set, such as 1-4, or 2-4, or 3-4, or 4-4 in a set of 4 columns. It is the responsibility of the operator to make absolutely certain that all columns desired have been properly identified in the operational set. Group operation. With Sturtell-Coney wireless mobile columns, the operation of the columns is conveniently available from any control box within the set. From any control box, you can operate that column individually, a pair of married columns if the column is a member of the paired set, or the entire set of columns. To raise the entire set, you simply depress the button with the up-pointing arrow on any control box. It is important to make sure that the indicator lamp is illuminated for all operation. At a height of approximately 12 inches above the floor, it is required that the operator stop raising and do a visual inspection. To do this, walk around to ensure that the lifting situation is stable and safe. All the columns in the set will raise so long as the up button is depressed. All the columns in the set are fitted with a height measuring device. The group of columns will travel up until the first column reaches maximum height. At that time, all columns in the set will stop raising to retain the height orientation of the group as initiated by the operator. At any time and at any height, it is possible to either lower the columns into the mechanical locks or lower the columns to any height. To initiate lowering, the operator depresses the button with the arrow pointing down. The columns will all lower into a mechanically locked position on the first available position on the locking ladder. If the columns are mechanically locked, it is necessary to raise the column off the locks before initiating lowering. If the operator does not wish to lower the columns into the locks, but to lower the vehicle to some height below the first available locking position, the first action must be to retract the mechanical locks. To retract the locks, the operator needs to depress the button with the horizontal arrow. So long as this lock release button is depressed, the locks are retracted. To begin lowering, the operator depresses the lowering button. So long as the operator is depressing the lowering button, the operator can release the lock release button and the locks will remain retracted. With the lowering button depressed and the locks released, the columns in the set will lower completely to the floor. Slow lowering. The control system also includes a function that allows the operator to reduce the lowering speed of the columns in the set. This reduced operating speed is available for group, all, paired, and single operation. On the control box is a button with the image of a turtle. To initiate slow lowering, depress the turtle button, which will cause a lamp to be illuminated in the bezel ring around the turtle button. At all times when the turtle lowering function is initiated, any column that is lowered will lower at a speed equal to 33% of the total standard lowering speed. Paired operation. In many instances, it may be necessary to raise or lower an individual axle or the entire end of a vehicle. To accomplish this task, it is possible to group 2 columns in the set into a married pair. It has to be stressed at this point that columns on the same axle should be paired, but not columns on alternate axles. At any time while the control system is operational, it is possible to generate pairs of columns. This operation is available from any control box within the set, but must be one of the control boxes within the columns to be married into the pair. The operator simply needs to go to one column in the desired pair and press the select button until the lamp is illuminated for pair. Then, the operator needs to go to the other column to be grouped into the pair. On that column, the operator needs to initiate the select button until the pair indicator lamp becomes illuminated. The operator must continue to designate pairs until only 2 columns, the last pair, remain. So in a set of 4, the operator must designate at least 2 columns as a pair, and the remaining 2 will default into a pair. In a set of 6, the operator must designate at least 2 pairs, and the remaining pair will default into a pair. In a set of 8, the first 3 pairs must be designated. Paired operation will not be available until all but the last 2 columns in any set have been designated as a pair. At this time, and until the main power is disconnected, that pair of columns are married into a 2-column set. To operate the pair of columns at any time when the paired lamp is illuminated, the operator simply depresses the button with the up-pointing arrow on any control box. It is important to make sure that the indicator lamp is illuminated for paired operation. The married pair of columns will raise so long as the up button is held depressed. To initiate lowering of the pair of columns, the operator must first ensure that the paired lamp is illuminated. Then the operator depresses the button with the arrow pointing down. With any operation where all the columns of the group are not selected, an acoustic alarm will sound when the columns are either raising or lowering. Single operation. In many instances, it may be necessary to raise or lower an individual wheel. This operation is available from any control box within the set. The operator simply needs to go into one column and press the select button until the single lamp is illuminated for single. To raise the single column alone, the operator simply depresses the button with the up-pointing arrow on any control box with the single lamp illuminated. That single column will raise so long as the up button is held depressed. To initiate lowering of a single column, the operator depresses the button with the arrow pointing down. With any operation where all the columns of the group are not selected, an acoustic alarm will sound when the columns are either raising or lowering. Set of columns, disassembly, and removal from vehicle. Now that we have finished the lifting and lowering operations required, it is necessary to remove the columns from the vehicle. First action is to lower all columns to the floor utilizing lock release and the lowering button as detailed previously. Once all columns are lowered completely, the operator must elevate the column using the pallet jack. It should be noted at this time that once the pallet jack is extended, the communication circuit between the columns is disconnected and a full restart must be initiated if the operator wants to lift again. So, the columns are now raised off the floor and can be moved away from the vehicle and stowed at a remote location. Column recharging. Once the column is stowed away and is needed, the column must be recharged. Every Sturtell-Coney wireless mobile column is fitted with a built-in automatic battery charger with a removable cord. To recharge the column, plug the cord into the socket on the front of the control box and into a standard 110 wall receptacle. The charger will recharge the batteries as needed. The amount and frequency of battery recharging will be dependent on usage. Control system programming. The control system on the Sturtell-Coney wireless mobile column allows the operator to program in many user-friendly features. This function will allow the operator to program 11 separate features as detailed in the original equipment installation, operation, and service manual. At this time, orientation will be provided for programming the most common feature, which is restricted height. First, raise all columns in the set to the desired restricted height. Now that the correct height has been achieved and verified, it is time to enter programming mode. Depress in combination the select and turtle lowering button and hold them depressed for a count of 2 seconds. With the service menu illustrated on the OSD, scroll through to find the menu item for the height limit setting. To initiate the height limitation, again depress the select button and go to confirm the choice and exit the programming mode. Depress the turtle button a second time. Warranty registration. It is necessary at the time of column delivery to register each column to validate the warranty. With each column at the time of delivery is a starter kit. In the starter kit is a warranty registration card as well as other support material. The warranty card is fitted with a QR reader to allow for easy warranty registration online. Please make sure to register all columns to ensure proper warranty coverage and to receive product updates. Registration only takes a couple of minutes and is self-prompting. Many thanks for your attention and your use of the Sturtell-Coney wireless mobile columns. Have a great and safe day.